What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I got some new news concerning Dillian the Body Snatcher Whyte. Dillian Whyte has went on record, he has never been a guy to hold his tongue, okay? And he hasn't stopped, and here he goes. He says that I would KO Tyson Fury with no problem. And he also mentioned that when he sparred Tyson Fury, that he dropped him several times during sparring. So he wouldn't have any problems knocking him out, And he goes on to mention Deontay Wilder. He says that Deontay Wilder is, he's a strong fighter, big puncher, but don't have any boxing IQ. You can see his punches come a mile away. And those wide punches, he won't be able to hit him with those wide punches, those wild punches. Wild and wide punches. And he would take him out also. And that's him basically giving his bid on the supposed top two guys in the division or whatever. What do I think about that? Let me counterpunch. Him knocking out Fury. Would I like him to fight Fury? Yeah, I think that would be a good fight for Fury, because both of those guys have beat common opponents. Okay, they've both beat Derek Chisora. Tyson Fury just knocked out Chisora. Tyson Fury beat Chisora twice. Okay, so whenever you got two guys with a common opponent, match them up. Let's see how good they are. And they've both actually fought Chisora twice. So that is a good common opponent, I think that Tyson Fury can box. He's a really good boxer. He can move, and he's really fast for a big guy. I don't think calling him Chinny would do, but he did get put down by some guys that he shouldn't have been put down by. But can Dillian Whyte do that? Can he nail him to the canvas? I don't know. Because, you could say what you want, like Dillian Whyte also went on to say that Tyson Fury has no power, Well, ask Deontay Wilder that. And if that's the case, he shook up Deontay Wilder. So if he could hurt Deontay Wilder, that means Deontay Wilder has a suspect chin too. But anyway, this is not really necessarily about Deontay Wilder's chin, but just throwing it out there to you guys, because he was able to buckle Deontay Wilder. I don't know if he was fatigued because he was, was punched out. Could have been a lot of factors, but, but yeah, Dillian Whyte is basically giving his own opinion about things. I think it'll be a good fight between him and Fury. I would love to see him and Deontay Wilder. He might be able to knock out Deontay Wilder, because I think that he's at an age where Ortiz wasn't. A lot of people claim that age put a factor in it. That really remains to be seen, because, no one else has fought Ortiz. So he's kind of like Australia. He's there. He's to himself. Okay. He's all like, he's secluded because there's no one else to compare him by. Everyone that Ortiz has pretty much fought hasn't fought anyone else. So that's the problem with Ortiz. But back to Whyte, I think Whyte should try to fight or wait for the WBC route, because Deontay did freeze him out. And I like Dillian Whyte's style, man. I got to tell you guys, I like his style, because he's one of the few guys that he's actually said something and had proof to back it up. You see what I'm saying? He had actual proof to back it up. Like when he said, man, Deontay Wilder said he'll freeze me out for 2 years because he don't have to fight me. I can show you the text. You remember that AK and Barack clip? And he showed him, like, look, I don't have to fight you for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? And that confirmed that Deontay Wilder ducked Dillian Whyte. But pretty soon, you keep knocking guys out, you're going to become that mandatory. But how good is that? Ask Dominic Brazil, the other mandatory. So, um, we only know if that fight will happen because it looks like Deontay Wilder is going to fight Dominic Brazil, but Dillian Whyte's in there. I think Dillian Whyte's best opt would be if Fury's not, he doesn't want to fight right now. He should take that next fight with Fury and see what he can do with Fury. You know what I mean? And then basically whoever wins out of those guys fight Joshua in the fall. That seems like it would be good to me. Or Dillian Whyte could fight Usyk. He already said he's going to maul him and rough him up, right? Let's see if he can do that. That's if, Usyk's ready. Usyk's taking his time, which is understandable. You know what I mean? So don't rush that prodigy. That's not smart. But yeah, Dillian Whyte, he is that guy that, calls out fighters. He wants the top fights, and he's a draw, so he should have the top fights. There should be no reason he shouldn't fight Fury. They'll fight in the UK, so there's no excuse there. You know what I mean? It ain't like he's a foreigner. Dillian Whyte, you got to fight wherever I live. None of that. Match it up, man. I think that would be a very good fight. With Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte. As long as we get new fights. That's my only concern with the heavyweight division. I don't want to see another damn Derek Chisora, Dillian Whyte and Joshua too. I'm not really interested in seeing that. I'd rather see a Dominic Brazil and a Deontay Wilder than a Deontay Wilder and another damn, like Stavern, right? Stavern. We did not need to see another Stavern fight. I don't want to see replays by any other fighter. Now, Dillian Whyte, sure, he deserves it. I look at Dillian Whyte like that guy. He's like the underdog. He's behind the shadows that eventually he will get his shot and hopefully he can prove everyone wrong. He reminds me of Juan Manuel Marquez. You remember all the times he fought Pacquiao and always got the shitty end of the stick? You know what I mean? Pacquiao was the biggest draw. Pacquiao made the most money. Pacquiao was the guy that they want to see fight Mayweather. Pacquiao was the fighter of the decade. Pacquiao was the 8th division world champion. Then it was Marquez, right? He had to fight himself out of, out of the spotlight of Eric Morales and Marco Antonio Barrera. You know what I mean? And you had a lot of guys that would come up. Then Canelo was coming up at that time. You know what I'm saying? Then, you had Cotto. But compared to his countrymen, he had problems, getting the respect, because you had Marco Antonio Barrera and Eric Morales. You know what I mean? You had those guys that, were the dominant name than Juan Manuel Marquez, and Marquez was one hell of a fighter, just like Dillian Whyte is, but he's not getting the just due. Sure, he's fighting all these guys. Sure, he's making these statements and he's calling these guys out. You know what I mean? But he's not getting like he feels his just due. And that's the thing about Dillian Whyte. He's raw. He's a dog. He says what's on his mind. You can see he's kind of, if you look at Dillian Whyte, he's always thinking. He's, you know what I mean? He's his eyes are all over the place because he's thinking about what you're saying. He's processing information. I got a buddy like that. When you talk to him, he's more like, he's thinking about what you're saying. You know what I mean? He ain't saying shit because he's listening, right? So Dillian Whyte's a listener, right? Because he's listening to what you're telling him, and then he's going to give it back to you raw like he knows how. Will these fights happen? I don't know. Because if Dillian Whyte's still on some diva stuff, the only person, you're going to see him fight is Brazil. Okay. All right. And then as far as Tyson Fury, depends on when that fight can be made. When is it comfortable for Tyson Fury? Because you can't say, I'll fight Dillian Whyte in March or April. And, because then that would be unfair to Deontay Wilder because he wants that rematch right then, and it'll be contradicting if you taking a fight with Dillian Whyte, but you can't take the fight with Deontay Wilder because, your baby's born, yada, yada, yada. You want to take this time, so you don't want that to be one of the reasons or the cases because that's going to be the narrative. You know what I'm saying? So, but Dillian Whyte, him fighting both of those guys seems really good for the sport of boxing. I think he needs a shot. You know, Tyson Fury is a good fight. If I'm Dillian Whyte, I would want to fight Tyson Fury's ass anyway, because I'd be ready to want to lay hands on his ass because he was the guy that took his shot. Think about it. Dillian Whyte has been the WBC silver interim champion for a minute. Okay? So he was supposed to got his shot. Then come Dominique Breazeale. Dominique Breazeale didn't get it. Out of nowhere comes Tyson Fury to fight for the WBC title with no rankings whatsoever in the WBC. So it was totally unfair. So Dillian Whyte knows this is bullshit. So does Dominique Breazeale. You know, and I think Dillian Whyte should go for a match or fight with Tyson Fury. You took my spot, sucker. You know what I mean? We're going to duke it out. So, yeah. But yeah, that's that's good stuff coming from Dillian Whyte. You know, he's gonna bring it raw and he's gonna bring it the way he's gonna bring it. But you guys tell me what you think about Dillian Whyte in this fight and what he said about these two fighters, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Of course, please subscribe, guys. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.